You have been holding on so tightly that your hands have started to shake, not from effort, from the refusal to let go. You have been doing this for so long that it no longer feels like holding. It feels like surviving. You told yourself a long time ago that trusting God was something you were doing. You go to church, you pray, you read the verses about peace that surpasses understanding, and you believe them, technically, the way you believe in things you have never actually touched. But underneath all of that is a grip so strong it would embarrass you if anyone could see it. A white-knuckled, jaw-clenched, contingency-planned grip on the life you are trying to make work on your own. And the exhaustion you feel is not from your circumstances. It is from carrying something you were never meant to carry alone this long. This is every level between where you are right now and where you could be. Between the version of you that calls it trust and cannot sleep, and the version of you that has actually put it down. Every level is a life. Every level costs something to leave. You're at the bottom of this, and the bottom looks like control. You are not an unbeliever. That is the thing that makes this level so hard to name. You believe in God sincerely and completely, and you still run everything yourself. You make the plan, then you ask God to bless the plan. You pray for guidance after you have already decided. You tell people you are trusting God while refreshing your bank account at midnight, while rehearsing the conversation you have not yet had, while building the backup strategy in case the first strategy falls through, in case the second one falls through, in case all of them fall through. You have a backup for your backup. You do not call this fear, you call it wisdom. You call it being responsible. You call it not being naive. And sometimes when things do not work out, you feel a specific anger that you would never admit to. A quiet, furious feeling that sounds like, I did everything right, and it still was not enough. That anger is the proof. Because a person who is actually trusting does not feel robbed when the plan changes. You feel robbed. You have felt robbed before. You just never connected it to this. The exhaustion at this level is specific. It is the exhaustion of a person who is doing two jobs at once. Their own and God's. You are managing outcomes. You are anticipating consequences. You're trying to account for every variable so that nothing surprises you, because you have decided somewhere below conscious thought that being surprised means being hurt, and you have been hurt enough times that you built a whole system around preventing it. The system is expensive. It costs you sleep. It costs you presence. You're never fully in a moment because part of you is always managing the next one. This is not a character flaw. It is a wound that learned to function. But functioning is not the same as living, and you already know that. You know that because you look at certain people who seem lighter than you, people who laugh easily and are not braced for what is coming, and you feel a pull you cannot explain. You want what they have. You do not know yet that what they have is not a personality. It is a practice. It is a decision they made at a level above this one. One level above you, something happened that you have not allowed yet. Something broke the system. Not devastatingly, just enough. A plan failed so specifically in a way you had so carefully tried to prevent that you ran out of explanations. You had prayed that prayer, you had done that thing, it did not work. And in the silence after, it did not work. In the 2 in the morning quiet of a night when you could not manufacture another option, something shifted. Not peace, not joy, just the brief and terrifying recognition that you cannot control this. Not this specific thing and not any of it, not really, not ultimately. You did not stay in that recognition long. It scared you, and you covered it quickly with activity, with research, with a new plan. But it happened. You felt the floor move, and the floor moving is how this level begins. This level is not surrender. Do not confuse it with surrender. This level is negotiation. You have begun to talk to God differently, not with the rote language of the prayer you were taught to pray, but with something rawer and more honest that you're almost embarrassed by. You're telling him what you need. You're telling him your conditions. You're saying, I will trust you with this, but I need you to move by this date. I will give this to you, but I need you to handle it this specific way. I will let go, but only if you promise. You do not say it in those exact words, but that is what is happening. You're offering trust the way a person offers something they are not sure they want to give, with one hand extended and the other hand ready to take it back. God is not insulted by this. This is the beginning of an honest conversation. But you will notice, at this level, that the peace you're looking for does not come. Not fully. Because you are still managing the outcome. You have just invited God into the management. Partnership is not surrender. Partnership is better than control, and you are learning that, and that matters. But there is a level above this one, and you can feel it, and it is asking for more than you have given yet. Above the negotiation is the level of partial release. Something specific left your hands here. One thing. Maybe it was a relationship you finally stopped trying to fix. Maybe it was a career outcome you stopped calculating. Maybe it was a prayer you had prayed for so long that you finally, genuinely told God, I cannot want this more than you do. I am putting it down. And when you put it down, something happened that you were not prepared for. not the answer, not the resolution. Something quieter and more disorienting than either of those things. Rest. A specific, unfamiliar quiet in the part of you that had been loud for so long. You did not know that part of you was loud until it stopped. It was like the refrigerator hum you stopped hearing 10 years ago. You only notice it was always there the morning it finally turns off. That quiet. That is what partial release feels like, and it confused you because the problem was not solved. Nothing had changed in the external situation, but something changed in you, and the change was so significant and so different from anything effort had ever produced that you started to wonder about the other things you were still holding. The strange thing about partial release is that it makes you greedy for more of itself. Because you expected release to feel like loss, and it did not feel like loss. It felt like putting down a bag you had been carrying so long that you forgot it was not part of your body. The relief of it was almost embarrassing. How long had you been walking bent under that weight? How many rooms had you walked into carrying that thing, distracted by the carrying, unable to be fully present because the management of it required a permanent background process in your mind? You started counting. You started looking at the other things you had classified as necessary concerns, prudent worries, responsible anxieties, and seeing them differently. Not as evidence of your maturity, as weight you had agreed to carry that was never on your original list. You started to wonder what it would feel like to put those down too. But there are more of them than you expected, and some of them do not feel like control. They feel like love. They feel like responsibility. They feel like things only a careless person would release. This is where the work gets personal. Because up until now, you could frame the things you were holding as fears, as habits, as patterns. Impersonal things, human things, understandable things. But at this level, you are looking at something different. You are looking at the people, the ones you love so much that you have wrapped your trust in God around them the way you wrap a fist around something precious, tight enough to protect, tight enough to crush. You have a plan for your child's life. You have a vision for your marriage. You have a hope for your parent, your friend, the person you cannot stop praying for, even when nothing is changing. And releasing those things to God is not like releasing a career outcome. It is not like releasing a financial worry. It is releasing a person you love into the hands of a God you believe in but cannot see, and trusting that those hands are safer than yours. You know theologically that they are. You know it the way you know the distance to the sun, accurately, completely, and with absolutely no felt sense of what it means. This level demands that you feel it, not just believe it. Feel it, and feeling it requires the one thing that every level below this one was designed to avoid: vulnerability, the complete and undefended acknowledgement that you're not in charge of the people you love most, that you never were, and that the one who is can be trusted with them more than you can. The level above that is the one where you stop performing trust and start practicing it. And the difference is this: performing trust looks like surrendered language wrapped around an unsurrendered interior. You say the words, you post the verse, you tell the story of the thing you released and how God came through. But there is a version of you that is still watching, still tracking, still logging outcomes, still building a private case for whether God can be relied on based on how the last 3 situations resolved. You are keeping score without knowing you are keeping score. And practicing trust is what happens when you catch yourself doing that, and you choose, specifically, in that moment, to put the scorecard down. Not to stop caring about outcomes, not to become passive or disengaged from your life, but to make the interior decision, again, that your security is not located in how this turns out. It is located in who holds it. That decision is not made once. It is made the way breathing is made, continuously without announcement, because stopping is not an option you are willing to take. At the level just below full surrender, something specific happens to prayer. It changes, not in frequency, not in length, in texture. Prayer at the bottom of this journey is a presentation. You bring God the problem and the preferred solution in the timeline. Prayer at the middle levels is a negotiation, then a release, then a tentative question. But prayer at this level is a conversation between 2 people, where one of them is not afraid of the other's answer anymore. You pray and you mean it when you say your will be done, not as resignation, not as defeat, as the genuine preference of a person who has accumulated enough experience with God's ways to believe, not just declare, but believe, that what he chooses is better than what you would choose. You have evidence now. It took years to build. Some of it was painful to receive, but you have it. And it changed the way you ask. You ask with open hands, not empty hands, open ones. There is a difference. Empty hands have given up. Open hands are ready to receive whatever comes, from whatever direction, in whatever form, even the forms you would not have chosen. Full surrender does not look the way you thought it would look. You expected it to feel like loss, like giving something up. You expected to feel smaller. You do not feel smaller. You feel, for the first time in your adult life, the right size. You are not carrying what was never yours to carry. You're not managing what was never yours to manage. You wake up in the morning and the first thought is not the problem list. It is not the threat assessment. It is something quieter and more fundamental, a recognition before language that you are held, not protected from difficulty, not guaranteed the outcomes you want, held. The way a person is held who knows that whatever today brings, the one who holds them has already seen it, has already accounted for it, has already determined that it will not be wasted. That is not naivety. That is the most sophisticated form of faith available to a human being. It took you years to get here. It cost you every false version of trust you had built. It required you to be wrong about control, wrong about your own sufficiency, wrong about what safety actually feels like. You were wrong about all of it, and being wrong about all of it was the best thing that ever happened to you. You are still the same person who used to refresh the bank account at midnight. You still know that person. You can still feel the shape of that anxiety the way you can feel the shape of a room you no longer live in, precisely with your body, for memory. But you do not live there anymore. The door is behind you. And what is in front of you is not certainty. It is not the promise that nothing hard is coming. It is something more durable than either of those things. It is the knowledge, earned and not inherited, that the one who holds your life is good. That he was good in the years you could not see it. That he was good in the season you called silence. That he was good when the plan changed, when the relationship ended, when the prayer went unanswered in the form you sent it, when you sat in the specific dark of a specific night and wondered if any of this was real. He was there then. He was already working then. You know that now the way you know something you lived through and not just something you were told, and that knowing is not a destination. It is a direction. You keep walking in it. Every day, open-handed, leaning forward, trusting the one who has never once, not once, let you fall further than he intended to catch you.